When traveling abroad, have you ever frozen up? Do I really have to leave a tip? What if I don't? This confusing habit holds a truth that 99% of people never knew. The truth is, you won't face legal trouble for skipping a tip, but in many places, the consequences can be awkward. For example, at a diner in Chicago, finish your burger, pay the bill, and walk out. Your server might roll their eyes or mutter under their breath. Skip the hotel housekeeper and you might wake up without fresh towels. A London taxi driver might sigh and take the longest route, while a barista in Rome might not refill your water next time. Why do service workers care so much about a few coins? Is their salary not enough to get by? The answer lies in salary structures in many countries. Base pay for service jobs is shockingly low. America's federal minimum wage for tipped workers is just $2.13 per hour, nowhere near enough to live on. Employers assume tips will make up the difference, but that's just the surface. Tipping's origin has nothing to do with gratitude. Let's travel back for 100 years to Europe. Back then, inns were hubs for travelers. Nobles would arrive, slip servants a coin not to thank them, but to jump the line for the best service. This practice was called veiling, from the Old French word for to be of use. It was essentially a bribe for priority. Ordinary people never paid it; they couldn't afford to. Tipping was a status symbol for nobles. I'm wealthy enough to buy better treatment. So how did this elite custom become a rule for everyone? Fast forward to the 19th century. America's railroads, hotels, and restaurants boomed. Employers needed cheap labor, so they hired Irish, Italian, and Eastern European immigrants. These immigrants spoke little English and had no power, so employers twisted Europe's veiling system into an exploitation tool. Employers paid these workers nothing or next to nothing, yet told customers tipping is a moral duty to reward hard work. In this way, employers shifted labor costs to customers, packaging exploitation as good manners. Workers had no choice but to survive on tips. Americans hated this system too. In the 1900s, a nationwide anti-tipping movement erupted. Newspapers called it inhumane, and some states even banned tipping. But employers fought back, lobbying politicians, threatening workers, and lying that banning tipping would raise prices. Eventually, the laws were repealed, and tipping became more entrenched than ever. Today, tipping culture has spread worldwide, but rules vary drastically. Many European countries include a 10 to 15% service charge in the bill, so tipping is optional. In Thailand and Japan, tipping is rude. It's seen as an insult to service quality. In Australia and New Zealand, minimum wages are high, so tipping is rare, but in America and Canada, skipping a tip is considered rude. After all this, it's time for the big truth: tipping was never about gratitude. Nobles used it to buy priority. Employers used it to shift costs. It's always been a cost-shifting tool, not a gesture of politeness. The truth is, tipping's core is employers forcing consumers to cover labor costs they should pay themselves, packaged as a moral obligation to be generous or polite. Marginalized workers, immigrants, low-income people are forced to rely on customers' kindness to make ends meet. So back to the original question, can you skip the tip? In tip-dependent countries like America, skipping it shortchanges workers. In Europe, where service charges are included, it's optional. In Japan or Thailand, not tipping is polite. The key is, now that you know the truth, you can make an informed choice. Did you know tipping started as a noble's priority bribe? Has this truth changed how you feel about tipping? Share your experiences in the comments. Next time you travel abroad, what will you do? If you learned something new, like and share this video so more people discover the real story behind tipping.